Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Tiffany, retired librarian turned homeschool mom. So recently in reviewing upcoming videos, I realized September was a little bare. Basically, it's Harry Potter, Harry Potter, Harry Potter, particularly compared to coming months. You're probably getting, I think, about 5 videos a week coming October. Yeah, October is pretty packed, firstly, because I'm still covering Harry Potter. Yeah, that stretches to the end of October. I'm also covering a whole bunch of Halloween stuff because it is literally my favorite holiday. So, I chose to add a little bit more into September. Looking at it, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to cover a fantasy author that I actually like. And, I believe she's a decent human being. Also, she's a decent human being. So I'm going to look at a quartet by Tamora Pierce. And it's probably not the one you're thinking about. I will eventually cover The Lioness Rampant, her song in the Lioness Quartet, because I love it. Tamora Pierce is literally one of my favorite teen authors. I actually read her in my 20s, and I own most of her books. If you occasionally pay attention to some of my videos, you can see I think I have her Becca or basically prequels to her Tortall series in the background. But I'm actually going to cover her Circle of Magic quartet, which is, I believe, it may have been the second series. I found Tamora Pierce by reading The Wild Magic, or The Wild Magic was the first book I read at first, which is the Immortals Quartet. So that's where I actually started with the series. And then I think I went back and read the Lioness Quartet when I realized I was missing things. But in this month, I am actually going to cover her Circle of Magic quartet, which is actually one of my favorites. I'm looking into November because I'm doing a lot of Native American stuff and heavy Native American stuff in November about just throwing in for fun to lighten things up. The Circle Opens quartet, which is the following quartet of this. She has written more books after that. But I can't remember what she's calling, because I know she was pushed into writing The Will of the Empress, which is kind of concludes the Circle Opens quartet. But this month we're just going to look at those first 4 books of that series. And then I'm going to look at 4 just kind of fun, mostly family films that I happen to, 1, already own, and 2, really enjoy. So we're going to look at Clue, Mr. Holland's Opus, which, yes, I know, these are going to really show my age. They're 90s. So, yeah. Mr. Holland's Opus, Clue, we're going to look like a movie called Fly Away Home. And then just because we're crazy and for funsies, we're going to cover Free Willy. Because I'm a 90s kid, and that was my introduction to orcas and killer whales. Aka that's the same thing. Giant dolphins. And awakening a love of these beautiful, beautiful creatures. Highly intelligent creatures. So we are going to cover those 4 films as well as this little quartet, just to get a break if you're not particularly into Harry Potter. And I know people have covered it ad nauseum, and J.K. Rowling's a crappy human being, or at least a highly misguided one. So I hope you look forward to looking at one of my actual favorite fantasy authors, particularly my young adult fantasy authors. And yes, that is a genre that I lean toward when I'm not reading nonfiction. I'm a big fantasy author, or big fantasy fan. That's the genre that I gear toward. So I will see you as we review some of these things besides, or you can just check out my Harry Potter. The Harry Potter reviews, I'm covering them from here to October. Check out, if you have any interest in this, I have a bunch of other children's book reviews, some travel stuff, some homeschooling stuff. This is very much at least to an extent, though most of what I do is book reviews, homeschooling, secular, non-religious homeschooling stuff. So I have some of those videos as well. October is literally jam-packed. From finishing Harry Potter to classical horror films to fun horror stuff to, yeah, I do a lot of videos in October, along with some Native American stuff coming up in November, and just a bunch of fun Christmas stuff in December, and then it goes from there. I think I'm covering food stuff in January, and then both African American history and Asian American history come February. So, but this month, besides Harry Potter, it's just some easy, fun stuff, particularly as pretty much the entire country gets back into school. Though I know in my state we started back in August because I'm in the Southwest. So I hope you enjoy and check out the rest of my channel. Thank you.